Hey moms, this is Claire from Mama to Yoga Academy, and I want to talk a little bit about a cue in class where teachers say, draw the navel towards the spine, or pull the navel back towards the spine, or draw the belly back towards the spine. So this is a really common cue, and I'm also putting this out to teachers because I know where it originated from. Of course, it originated from something called our Uddiyana Bandha, which is our navel lock. But the practice functionality for postpartum moms makes no sense whatsoever. And I want to tell you anatomically as to why. So drawing your navel back towards the spine, I think that we can do a lot better. I'm not saying that it's necessarily wrong, but here's the risk for moms who have had a baby. So in postpartum health, this is your just kind of a side glance of your abdominal wall. So we have the transversus abdominis. These are the most functioning muscles for pre and postpartum health. They have an attachment points from the front of the pelvis. They move all the way up towards the ribs. And these are the ones that I cue a lot in class because we can't use our rectus abdominis anymore. So those would be like the six-pack most superficial muscles to the front of the abdomen. So when I cue, I always cue the transversus abdominis muscles, or like corset muscles. They're strong. And they also help to function the pelvic floor muscles. These are the multifidus, so they're really thin muscles that help to stabilize kind of the joints or the aspects of the facet joints here. We have the muscles of the pelvic floor. You can see it's sort of a dome on the bottom. And then we have the diaphragm on the top. So when we say to postpartum moms, draw your navel back, this is also like a fitness term in terms of engaging the core. What happens is, here's the level of the navel. It cinches. So if you can imagine tying a belt around your waist and pulling it in this position, where do you think the pressure goes? So if I'm cinching and pulling my navel back towards the spine, the pressure is usually happening in two ways. Some of it's going up and pushing on the diaphragm. The other, my concern is that it's pushing down towards the pelvic floor muscles. So navel to the spine in postpartum yoga and postpartum fitness and health isn't an appropriate term anatomically and physiologically. It can actually do more harm than good because it applies more pressure on the pelvic floor muscles. So when women are trying to do a load-bearing exercise and they're bearing weight down into the pelvic floor muscles, but pulling the navel back towards the spine, this is only going to exacerbate something called incontinence, which we all, if you're a mother, have experienced at some point in your life. So the appropriate term in terms of engaging the core is going right to this abdominis, these transverse abdominis muscles. My biggest cue in class is hugging the sides of the pelvis to the midline of the body. So I tell moms it's this. It feels like this wrapping around the front to lift here. It's also another cue that I use lots of different ones so that moms, because everyone relates a little bit differently to cues, but another one I use is lifting or trying to draw into a tight pair of pants, because we all know that sensation of trying to move into our pants from 1994 that we love and we just can't get rid of, and we pull in a little bit from the front line of the abdomen and we sink in. So this is the position. This is also called your abdominal canister. And as you can see in all of our exercises, not only just in breath, but in movement, we want to keep the canister exactly like this. Right? So in a cylinder, we want to make sure that there's no pressure on the top, there's no pressure on the bottom, there's no pressure in the sides of the ribs. So the exhalation is really important when we're doing load-bearing exercise so that there's no pressure, right? So when we exhale, we want to make sure that everything is being lifted off the pelvic floor versus the inhalation when the diaphragm pushes down. So another reason, in another video, you'll check out why I always cue on the exhalation, especially with load-bearing exercise, because there is a functionality to this. I always say there's a method to my madness. So when you're going out, teachers, please, for the love of all of everything holy in this world, do not tell your postpartum moms to pull the navel back towards the spine to engage the core. We can do a little bit better by engaging through this transversus abdominis, pulling in this beautiful sort of corset-like muscles in the front of the abdomen to help reduce the pressure on the pelvic floor, but also to help function diastasis, that's abdominal separation that's happening within the rectus. So please, please, please think a little bit more logically in terms of the body, because we want to keep moms safe in postpartum health, okay? Sides of the pelvis, midline of the body, lifting, I sometimes say the pubic bone towards the navel, or trying to get into your tight pair of pants. Now I'm talking really quickly because I'm so passionate about this, and it drives me absolutely bonkers when I hear this in a class, okay? That's it. That's my rant for today. Here. Strong.